Hi, boys and girls. I'd like to get you ready to listen to a story called The Wind in the Willows, and I'm going to be sharing it with you over the next few weeks. I'm going to read you an adaptation of the book titled The Wind in the Willows, and you're going to hear about a chapter each day for the next few weeks. Willows are a type of tree. There's lots of types of willows, and these particular ones in the image are weeping willows. Willows like a lot of water and therefore tend to grow near sources of water like rivers, lakes, and ponds. The story that you're going to hear today is fiction. Do you know what fiction is? If a story is fiction, it's created from an author's imagination. The Wind in the Willows was written in 1908. This is what school looked like in 1908. More than 100 years ago. And it's considered one of the best children's stories ever written. Because this story is a high quality and has remained well known through the years, we would call it a classic. That's what classic means. You probably know some other classic stories like Charlotte's Web, Alice in Wonderland, The Chronicles of Narnia, Where the Wild Things Are, or A Wrinkle in Time. And these are just a few classic books. You should ask your parents or grandparents or daycare or guardians if they're familiar with the classic story you're going to be working on, which is called The Wind in the Willows. The Wind in the Willows was written by a man named Kenneth Grahame. Kenneth Grahame was born in Scotland, but he moved to England when he was very young and lived there for the rest of his life. Now, you're probably wondering where these places are. Grahame told these stories to his son, who he nicknamed Mouse, to entertain him before he even wrote them down. The story is set in the English countryside where the author grew up, near a river called the Thames. Scotland and England are two of the four countries that make up the United Kingdom, or the UK for short, along with Wales and Northern Ireland. If you look at the map up here, here's Oroville, where we live. The United Kingdom, the country where this story takes place, is here. Here's a map of the United Kingdom. You can see here two islands. One is a little bit larger than the other. The citizens of the United Kingdom are called British because the main land mass of their country, the United Kingdom, is called Great Britain. The Thames River runs through the part of the kingdom called England. The United Kingdom is considered to be part of the continent of Europe. Oroville, where we live, is part of the continent called North America. Because Grahame lived in the UK, The Wind in the Willows is written in British English. In the United States, most people speak American English. British English and American English are very similar, but there's some slight differences in words or phrases. If you look carefully up here, you can see that words like apartment and cab and can and candy, in British English, those would be called a flat, a taxi, a tin, or a suite. Now, for example, in the read aloud today, you're going to hear about a character who is messing about in a boat. What do you think it means to be messing about? Well, in American English, we might say messing around instead of messing about. But in both cases, it means that the character is not doing anything on the boat with a particular purpose. This map shows the many places described in The Wind in the Willows. The story begins at Mole's house and the riverbank. Here's Mole's house, and the riverbank is just right here. And you can look forward to hearing about lots of other places you see on this map. The story you're going to hear for the next few weeks is about animal characters living near the river and in the woods, which is another name for the forest. The main characters are a mole,